Hello, and welcome to the ONTIC Protective Intelligence Podcast. I'm Fred Burton with the ONTIC Center for Connected Intelligence. During my years as a counterterrorism agent with the U.S. State Department and time spent as a physical security expert in the private sector, I've seen it all and met many fascinating people along the way. This podcast series explores the riveting world of safety, security, and protection through conversations with leaders in the field. I'm Fred Burton, and now on to the podcast. Hi, I'm Fred Burton, here today with Bill Marlow. Bill is an internationally recognized authority on information security and risk. As an active participant in critical infrastructure protection on a worldwide basis, Bill has worked closely with global governments and law enforcement, as well as financial institutions, energy corporations, pharmaceutical companies, and insurance companies on issues involving cyber terrorism, security plans, and international cooperation. Bill is currently the CEO and founder of Global Integrity Incorporated, which is a developer of invisible encryption for office applications, most notably the Q phone. Bill, welcome to the ONTIC Protective Intelligence Podcast.
Thanks so much, Fred. I appreciate it.
We're really looking forward to this discussion, Bill. You and I have mutual friends with the Torchstone folks, Scott Stewart and Frank Rodman, that I've known forever. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the intelligence business.
I was actually recruited back in the early 70s by one of our favorite agencies to help them with some technology, which transitioned me into a field position. So I've been kind of in the intelligence business for a very long time.
Now, Bill, you have invented, I guess is the correct word, and correct me if I'm wrong, a very unique communication solution called the Q phone. What exactly is that?
So based on my background, my team and I have been looking at things to help the good guys. The bad guys all have the highest end capabilities that you can imagine: spread spectrum radios, point to point encryption capabilities. The good guys, on the other hand, are not exactly well funded. So, um, through most of my companies, I've always been looking for a way of helping the good guys. So, Qphone is actually an ultra secure communications app that you can put on virtually any mobile device to allow fully secured, fully protected communications. And the critical part is that we collect no data. We don't know where you are. We don't care where you are. We don't know what your phone is. We don't care about any of those things. It is truly a clean implementation of a highly secured communications. In fact, the encryption we use uh, is a quantum resistant encryption uh, using the latest techniques to prevent quantum computers from actually accessing it.
Wow, that's simply amazing. Now, I think most of us that have lived in the intelligence space, the protection business, and so forth, we're all used to apps such as Signal or WhatsApp and so forth. How is Qphone different?
Nothing in life is free, as the old adage goes. So, as you uh, using a free app, they have to pay for themselves somehow. So, what they do is they collect information, metadata on every individual, and then they correlate that information and they sell it. Lots of places want to know about that. Obviously, advertising wants to know about that. But more importantly, there are a number of agencies around the world from different governments that want to know about that, who buy that through third party companies. They collect things about where you are, what kind of device you have, what is on your device. Some of those collect all of your contacts. who you are connected to, how many times you talk to them, so on and so forth. Qphone, on the other hand, doesn't collect anything. Um, Now, it's not free, and that's because we have to pay for it somehow. But we don't collect anything, so you're protected from that kind of analysis from going on. And to most of us who are in the intelligence business or even the law enforcement business, that's a critical item, not having people be able to tell where you are, who you're talking to, or what you've done.
So, Bill, I'm thinking of a zillion different use cases just based on my background, going back to the early 80s, predominantly in the protection space and so forth. So, let's, on a practical application, you have a protection team that's out in the field protecting a CEO. You could utilize the Q Phone app to communicate securely without anybody knowing where you are. Is that an accurate recap?
That is an accurate recap. And so that provides them a level uh, of protection. You know, that if you can't find them, you can't do something to them. And it works any place on the planet. So you're fully operational regardless of whether you're in downtown New York City or in Djibouti.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I know there were some challenges in the past with global operations. So obviously, this comes into play too if you're a, let's say, a C-suite chief executive officer, or you're in negotiations with mergers and acquisitions. I could see tremendous use case across corporate America for this.
We actually have several boards of directors who are on this specifically for having those private conversations. Uh, but let me regress just a moment about the protection that we were just talking about, Fred. The Those people who are deployed for protection have families. So what we do is we provide the families free use of Qphone so that the families can talk to their deployed people. And in fact, most of the guys refer to it as a ultra secure FaceTime because we do voice, video, and messaging. So they can actually talk to their kids at night, fully protected. So that's a use case that's kind of nobody ever talks about, but it's the human side of the use case.
Yeah, not only is that a tremendous thing for you to do, Bill, and your company, global integrity, but the comfort factor too of just family being able to reach their loved ones around the globe or on extended protection missions or whatever the mission might be.
Right. And that's the reason we do that. I mean, you've been there, I've been there, where we're deployed for some ridiculous amount of time, and we still have loved ones that we want to communicate with. Well, this provides actually that ability without violating any security protocols.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. Now, uh, when you start looking at the development of this project, Bill, and putting this together, I'm fascinated since we also work for a technology company. How long did it take for you to develop this technology, and like what goes into that?
Okay, so uh, global integrity has actually been around in one form or another for about 15 years. Uh, it All of the technologies we developed some very interesting technologies. We have over 23 unique patents uh, that deal with encryption and communications, and uh, uh, we've developed that over the years. Qphone really kind of started in about 2017. We started that development process, and we just released it last year. So it's been, and most of that time, when you look at encryption, the way cryptologists break encryption is most of the time it's through two methodologies. One is the actual implementation. There's usually a hole, and in many cases, most of the secure apps on your phone actually have implementation errors that allow the bad guys to get in. Pegasus takes advantage of that, by the way. That software that has been used by governments for stealing information.
Oh, wow.
The second way of doing that is through statistical analysis. They capture so many packets of your data, and then they start comparing pieces of it to start looking at how they do that. In our case, we actually own several patents on the packets are never the same length. Regardless of how many times you send the same message, there are always variable sizes of the packages that get transmitted. So we avoid statistical analysis of the encryption that way. And a number of other unique techniques. We also provide the ability to send messages so that they don't look encrypted. So if you sent me a message, it would look like a normal text as opposed to being numbers and letters that look like encryption. So we do a lot of stealth type of activities, and it's really to protect the users. That's what it's all about. It's not really about the information. It's to protect the user so that nobody knows what they're doing.
We'll get back to the conversation in just a moment, but first I wanted to tell you a little bit about ONTIC's Center for Connected Intelligence. In the world of safety, security, and protection, we know that gathering and sharing information is crucial. That is why we created the ONTIC Center for Connected Intelligence. The center is a hub for the ongoing exchange of security strategies and best practices, insights on current and past trends, and sharing valuable information through expert discussion and analysis. It's made up of seasoned experts across a wide range of disciplines. To find blogs, podcasts, webinars, white papers, and more, check out the center by visiting ontic.co/center. That's ontic.co/center. Now, Bill, when you look at this technology that seems to be developing at a rapid pace, what's next in your business? Meaning, as you look out over the horizon from a communications perspective, everybody's so concerned about privacy and leaked data. And, if you take high net worth individuals or celebrities with paparazzi and so forth, what's on the horizon that perhaps people aren't thinking about in this space?
Well, we're already taking a look at kind of the next generations of technologies. I'm a physicist, so I'm very focused on kind of the next generation of uh, using photons as encryption keys, which means if somebody intercepts it, it automatically changes. Additionally, you'll see we're actually doing significant research on the use of AI in that environment. Everybody's talking about AI this, AI that. Uh, a well-designed AI can be very specifically tuned to protect individual pieces. You don't need big computers, you just need smart pieces. So we're doing a lot of advanced technology analysis and work, preparing for 2025 to 2030 when we expect to see a huge uptick in people stealing information.
This is something like right out of a James Bond movie, Bill. I mean, do you have some sort of laboratory with all this going on that you use for a base of operations? Do you do all this work domestically, or is any of it outsourced abroad?
We don't outsource anything. All of our people are unique individuals. I've personally known everybody on our team for over 20 years. We've worked together in various capacities. Um, And we do not have a single location. Single locations allow people to attack. We have a distributed capability that we use for all of our research and development. Uh, and that's sensitive information to our corporation of how we do that, because what we have found in the past and many years ago was that we were being monitored by various organizations, both governmental and non-governmental organizations. So we broke that all apart and created this kind of distributed capability to do development.
And I assume, like most businesses do, there's due diligence on customers to make sure that this technology is not falling into enemies' hands, so to speak.
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the critical items for us is that you have to be a recognizable organization. You got to be a corporation. You got to be a law enforcement uh, group. You've got to be, um, we got to be able to say, yeah, you guys are good guys. We're not doing, we're not providing startups with this. We're not providing people who haven't been around for a while this. And so it really is focused on corporate entities to take advantage of.
Now, Bill, when you think about this space in general, what aren't corporate security teams thinking about, or what are some of the vulnerabilities, having spent a lifetime in this space, which drove you for the creation of this device? What isn't the average security team that might not have this technology not thinking about?
Well, and this is no hit against anybody because all the guys are doing their best work based on what they know. So, but a lot of teams aren't concerned about using, uh, you know, free apps or free technology without they don't realize what they're giving up based on that. The other thing is location data of your people is critical. Uh, you know, I actually about a year ago helped a team of guys recover a kidnapped individual. The individual was being tracked, and he always showed up at the same Starbucks every day. He was a high net worth individual's son, and they tracked him and they grabbed him as he was leaving the Starbucks. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah,
They know what they're doing. So
for sure.
that location data, people don't think about that. Every time you have your Wi-Fi on your phone, every hotspot is picking up your phone. You walk through a mall, you walk uh, down past businesses. Every one of those hotspots is tracking you. And with the right technology, I can see everywhere you've been and everywhere you stopped. So if I'm in a mall, I can see that you stopped at the pizza place for lunch, or I can see that you were shopping in Macy's, or I can see. So there's a lot of those kinds of things that corporate security guys don't necessarily advise people about turning off their Wi-Fi's on a normal basis. There's a lot of those kinds of small things you can do that help your security profile, and they're cheap. I mean, they cost you nothing. Turning off your Wi-Fi costs you nothing. So those are the kinds of things that I worry about, and certainly every time that we deploy QPhone with the executives, I actually have a little course that I give them, a 20-minute course of, hey, you now have a cool communications capability. Here are the other things that are you need to be doing to protect you and your family.
Yeah, that's interesting. And when you think through this, having done a lot of threat assessments and vulnerability assessments on ultra high net worth individuals and so forth, you might have a CEO that's very secure, but family members, children aren't.
Exactly. And they're the vulnerability.
So, in this space with a Q phone, if you had this deployed, amongst your core family and so forth, you could rest assured that nobody's tracking you, monitoring you, and triangulating in on your location.
Yeah, we've actually done that with some of our corporate clients with their kids, and we kind of drag the kids in and bring them into the, if you will, you mentioned James Bond world, Mission Impossible world, right? So and kind of explain to them how this stuff works. The kids are usually smarter than the parents, by the way, and they get it immediately, and they're like, "Oh wow, yes, okay." And then they start asking a lot of questions. I can't tell you. Yesterday I was on the phone with a 15-year-old girl, and she and I spent an hour talking about security because her dad hooked her up with Qphone.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Bill, what haven't I asked you that you would like to say about the Q phone or this technology or privacy in general?
I think that more people need to be made aware of all the things that are happening to them in a privacy mode, how much information is being gathered about them. People don't realize the extent of the information that is being gathered every time they go out to a news site or they go shopping online, and they don't have the right kinds of protections in place. Qphone is one piece of a security program. We can protect their communications. We can make sure that they can send documents and messages, and they can conference call securely, and they can video call securely. That piece we can do. We have that works on your mobile devices. It works on your desktop. Uh, but that's only one piece of a much larger program that that people need to start understanding that about the amount of information that's being taken from them.
Bill, if someone is interested in purchasing the app, where do they go? How do they get in touch with you?
They can go to our website, www.globalintegrity.com. There's a link at the bottom for connecting up with our sales team. The app is actually on the Play Store and on the Apple Store. You can download it. It just won't operate until you have a contract with Global Integrity through our website.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for being on the OnTick Protective Intelligence podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun, and I look forward to getting together and chatting.
Thank you. This episode was brought to you by the OnTick Center for Connected Intelligence. Learn more at ontic.co/center. Again, that's ontic.co/center. It was produced by AJ McKeon. Our music is a track called Monteverdi Ride and was written by Brian Bristow and performed by Smokin' Novas. Check them out on Spotify. Please remember to rate and review our podcast on iTunes and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have questions, we'd love to hear them. You can reach us at podcasts@ontic.co or visit ontic.co/center for more information. Thanks for listening.